Welcome to the I Heart My Fitbiz podcast, where we will be covering everything you need for inspiration, motivation, and practical advice in how to create a thriving fitness business. Welcome to this podcast episode, and this week we are talking about the one question that I seem to ask myself every day, and how I've reframed it to make it work for me. And hopefully what I share with you in this podcast episode will help you too. So nearly every day in my business, I'm asking myself, how the bleep do I do this? So every day it feels like there's always something that is like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to reach that goal or accomplish that or do this. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to get there. Maybe you're feeling the same thing. Maybe that's holding you back a little bit because you think, well, I don't know how to do it, so there's no point in even trying, or it feels really big. So again, I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to ignore it, and then you feel really down about yourself because you haven't even attempted it, or it just feels so big and you feel so far behind, and you feel like sometimes everybody else is doing it really, really easily and you're just finding it really hard. So this question and the feeling of not knowing how to do something used to fill me with overwhelm and fear and just that desire to give up. And that desire to just be like, it feels like there's no point in even starting because I don't even know where to start or how to do it. Now, when I ask that question, I let it fill me with curiosity, excitement, and this determination to figure it out or to get help and to find out how. And I try and think of it as like, wow, how can I learn this? How can I figure it out? How can I reach out to somebody and ask for help? How can I make this a healthy challenge rather than an overwhelming one? How can I make it like work for me almost? How can I make it this thing that is going to really help me to grow as a person and as a business, and letting that fill me with excitement about the challenge rather than it feel like a really big thing and it feel like a fear and a sticking point. So now when I ask my question, like I said, I allow it to fill me with curiosity, excitement, and determination to just figure it out and to get the help and to find the way to do it. And that is such a different energy. So, when you're at the beginning of your business or when you're facing a challenge in your business, whether that's daily or whether that's just every now and then, sometimes, again, that energy can just feel like it's just holding you back. You can't move on to the next step. Yet when we flip it and when we look at it as a challenge that we can overcome and almost like a goal that we can achieve, and this, again, curiosity about, okay, so this is a challenge, but I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm starting. I don't know how I'm going to do this. But let's just take the first step in being curious as to maybe the possibilities of how I could do this. Or maybe I could write a list of people who may know how to do this and just really fill it with this excitement of like, oh, like this is a challenge. This is something that I can really get my teeth into and really look at as something that's going to really help me grow. So I got to this new energy by basically being fed up of living in fear and overwhelm and really realizing that no one knows what they are doing really. Like even people that you think are experts in your field or are experts, just like maybe even like influencers and people that have really large followings, you may think that they have it all figured out and they know what they're doing, but they really don't. Like everybody starts and everybody where they are at are basically thinking, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm just going to do it. And everybody at some point in their life is literally saying that to themselves, and most of the time it's daily. So if you're looking at somebody and thinking, wow, they have it so easy, they find this really easy, they are probably thinking to themselves, whichever level they are at, and that may be ahead of you, so it may look like things are easy for them, but the level that they are at, they are now thinking, like, how do I do this? How do I get to that next step? But they've got to where they are at because they've kept going through that fear and through that overwhelm. And again, possibly reframing it like I have. And so I want you to know that you are not alone in feeling like things are challenging and feeling like things are overwhelming and fearing those challenges rather than looking to them with excitement. I want you to know that everybody in the world every day is probably thinking, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to teach myself to do that? How am I going to figure this out? How am I going to get to that next level? How am I going to achieve this goal? So everybody on some level is thinking that kind of thought. And when you know that you're not alone. And everyone started something not knowing how to do it at first. It's not a new thing. And I almost thought to myself, do you know what? I'm not special by making this a fear and making this overwhelming. And sometimes when we do that, when we make it like this really big thing, it's almost like we're playing this victim role and it almost thinking that we're more special than anybody else because we're finding this challenging. That's just how I feel. I mean, maybe you're not feeling like that at all, but that just really helped me to get into a place of like, do you know what, Charlotte? You're not special. Everybody is in this place where they don't know what they're doing and they're just doing it and they're just figuring it out as they go. And knowing that everybody is doing that, and even if it's just me saying that I feel like that every day, if that makes you feel better and makes you feel like you're not alone, then that is enough from this podcast. Just hearing me say it. But I want you to know that literally everybody is feeling like this. So you're not alone in feeling overwhelmed. But overwhelm is just a perception. So it's not a reality. So the next time you're asking yourself, how do I do this? With the feeling of fear and overwhelm rather than excitement and like opportunity to face a challenge, I want you to ask yourselves these next questions. So when you're feeling like that, again, maybe it's every day, maybe it's right now, maybe you're thinking of a specific goal, like maybe taking your fitness business online or getting more clients in, and you're currently thinking, how the hell do I do this? I just don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I'm never going to achieve this. When you're feeling like that, I want you to ask yourselves these next few questions. So the first one is, how can I make this into an exciting challenge of learning and figuring out something new? So I want you to start to think about, how can this be an opportunity for learning and growth? And how can you make it, like say, an opportunity? How can you make this, like when you started a qualification, you probably felt quite daunted by gaining a new qualification, starting the training for it, going to a training course for that qualification, going through the assessment, the exam. You probably felt really daunted by that and really like scared and overwhelmed by that. But you did it anyway because you knew it was an opportunity to learn and grow and take your career to the next level. And I want you to think about every single challenge like that, not just a qualification, but everything you're struggling with and you're feeling challenged by and maybe feeling fear and overwhelm with. I want you to look at it as a new qualification. Like when you get through that thing, you are going to feel so much stronger, so much more confident, and you're going to go through this level of personal growth as well as business growth. So that's the first question. So, yeah, look at it almost like a new qualification. Like, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What am I going to get at the end of it? The next question is, who can help me get there quicker? So who's already done what I want to do and that I'm finding challenging and overwhelming? And most of the time, those people have free resources, or if you reach out to them and ask them questions, they're going to feel flattered by that and actually want to help and want to answer your questions. I know I always feel like that when somebody reaches out to me. I'm always like, wow, they think I'm they think I'm an expert enough, I'm good enough, I know the answers. And a lot of the time I do, and I'm so happy to help. And we often get this fear of like, oh, I don't want to bother anyone, I don't want to pester anyone. They've obviously got a lot to do. But actually, it's a confident boost to that person that you are asking them for advice. So I don't want you to hold back on not asking people who could help you potentially get through this obstacle and through this challenge and get you there quicker. And like I said, chances are they have free resources or they're happy to answer your questions to help get you started. So write a list of who can help you get there quicker and reach out to those people or research those people. And then the third one is, what time can I put aside each day or each week purely focused on figuring this out? Because chances are you are procrastinating and putting off this thing because you feel like it's so big and you don't know how to do it and you don't know where to start. So half the time we think it's going to be this really big thing that will take us forever because, like I said, we don't know how to start. We don't know what to do. But when we have a focused time on it and really sit down, maybe just to research, maybe just to map things out, maybe just to think about it and just take action, this helps us to break it down into steps and move forward rather than feeling like paralyzed by the overwhelm of the task. And when we're feeling like that, when we're feeling overwhelmed and paralyzed by it, we just stay in the same place and we don't do anything about it and we just feel more like a failure. Whereas when we actually allocate time to sit down at the thing that we're struggling with and just brainstorm or research or actually take action, really small action in, okay, if I did know what I was going to do first with this challenge, with taking the next step, what would it be? And just doing that thing, even if it's the smallest thing. And again, that brings us into momentum. So as soon as we take one small step, it leads to then another one, and then another one, and then another one. And before you know it, you've overcome this obstacle by taking these really small steps. So I want you to allocate some time specifically for that thing that you are finding overwhelming, fearful about doing, or really big. And I just want you to sit down with the time that you've allocated to that task. And I want you to do something, whether, again, it's researching, whether it's reaching out to that person who can help you, but take action and do something because that's going to build momentum and it's going to move you forward. And most of all, I just want you to keep going. I want you to, again, reframe every challenge as to how can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I take action on this and maybe ask for help? How can I just keep going? How can I just keep moving? How can I just keep taking those small actions? So I hope that helps. And let me know in the comments or reach out to me if that did help, or if you have taken that small action and it's made you feel better. And that's the one thing I want you to do today from listening to this podcast, is to set that time aside, take action. So whether it's straight after this podcast episode, you're stopping and you're thinking, right, how can I get through this? Who can I reach out to? How can I get excited about this? How can I take that first small step and build that momentum towards that thing you are struggling with?